So tonight I'm going to show you a typical imaging session from a backyard observatory. I control everything from within the house through a remote desktop session out to the mini PC that's located in the observatory itself. So I'll just take you through a typical night and how things go and sometimes don't go so well. First thing I'll do is open up the observatory roof. That lets the temperature acclimate and telescope and everything get kind of ready to go. Once the roof is open, then I'll come back and start opening up my various software packages. I start with the Green Swamp server to control the telescope mount. I will then open up the Pegasus Astro Unity platform. Kind of old school, old habits. I open each software package individually instead of letting them automatically open, just an old habit. The Unity platform here allows me to connect to and control the Pocket Power Box Advanced, but more importantly the Falcon Rotator, which is a wonderful instrument. Takes a minute for that to initialize. It comes up. I'll then open PhD2. Once the program opens, we'll minimize those, and then I will start up Nina. While Nina is starting up, I will unpark my telescope. The telescope stays parked in a downward position, one, to clear the roof so the roof can open and close, and two, it helps keep dust off of the front lens in between imaging sessions. Equipment that we have here, I've got the Skywatcher EQ6R Pro mount. The main telescope is the Astro-Tech AT130 EDT refractor. That has a Hotech field flattener. We've got the Falcon Rotator and ZWO filter wheel, ZWO focus motor, and my main imaging camera is a ZWO 294mm Pro. My guide scope is a William Optics 50mm guide scope, and then we've got the ASI 290mm Mini for a guide camera. Once the telescope is unparked and Nina is open, then I'll open up and load my profile, and then I connect each piece of equipment. I do each piece of equipment individually. Again, old school. Instead of hitting the connect all, I like to connect each piece of equipment and make sure that it connects properly. Once everything is connected, I'll open up the advanced sequencer and load up my sequence that I'd already set up. I'd already set up my targets, my framing, my rotation, everything ready. Now, the sequences that I use are templates from Chad over at Patriot Astro. And if you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to check out his channel and download his templates. They're awesome. Makes everything much easier. I've made some modifications to them, but it's a wonderful place to start. So tonight I'll be shooting two targets. The first one is IC5146. It rises early, but it sets a little after midnight. So as you can see here, I will shoot this until it's 5 degrees above the horizon, which is a little after 11 o'clock at night. You notice here there's a hint of a problem coming up. Anyway, and then I'm shooting bimming 2x2 with this particular telescope and camera. I'm shooting LRGB and HA on this target. And then my second target will be actually M81, M82 together in the same field of view. It rises a little before midnight, and then I can shoot that until morning. So my sequence here starts, and then it will run until nautical dawn. And I'm shooting, here I'm just shooting LRGB. I'm not shooting any HA on these galaxies. Once the entire sequence is finished, my ending sequence here warms the camera, parks the scope, and then I've got an external script which basically does nothing but robocopy all of my light frames back to my NAS in the house for me to process from. Start the sequence here, and it begins, since it's time, it begins cooling the camera. It's fairly cool out tonight, so it will cool rather quickly here. It's already well below zero, so a few degrees below zero, so it'll cool very quickly. Once we reach our -10, then the Nina will then start slewing over to my target here. Once it gets slewed over, it will rotate and plate solve and make sure that we're right where we wish to be. So here we go. Telescope is now slewing over to the coordinates that were determined from the framing assistant. Once we get the telescope over there, then it will take a 10-second exposure. Solve using ASCAP, which is rather quick, and now the Falcon rotator is rotating to my predetermined framing that I picked beforehand. Once it has rotated, then it will begin to center on my target. Takes a second or two here. It goes through a couple of iterations. Once it's solved and is happy, starts PhD2, starts guiding, lets the guider settle, and while the guider is settling, then we'll run an autofocus. Don't we wish autofocus always ran this fast? Speeding up here a little bit. Using the Hocus Pocus plugin, and it, again, wonderful little V-curve here. We focused up really quick, or really nicely. The guiders begin to settle down a little bit here now, and we are now exposing our first luminance frame. And that should be coming in here in just a second, and here we go. The first luminance frame, however, I should have been paying a little more attention to what was going on, because it took the first frame, and now we're taking the second, and guess what? Meridian was in 10 minutes when I started this. Here is the hint. If you notice there on the graph, transit north was happening. So I take 2 images, and now we're doing a meridian flip. I should have waited just a few minutes to start the sequence, and this wouldn't have been so bad. So once it's done the flip, then the telescope will settle for a few minutes. It will do another autofocus. Again, using the Hocus Pocus plugin. Chad over at Patriot Astro, once again, has a wonderful tutorial on getting that set up. Now it's going to recenter my target. Takes a couple of tries to get perfect. Again, a lot of wasted time here. Had I waited probably 5 minutes to start the sequence, we wouldn't have gone through this entire 15-20 minutes delay while it was doing the flip, refocusing, recentering, and so forth. Good lesson. Pay more attention before you start your sequence. So now we'll select a new guide star. Once it selects a guide star, it will begin guiding, and then we will have to wait for PhD2 to settle. Again, all of these are things that happen because of the meridian flip. So guiding is starting, PH2 will start to settle. That does give the guiding time to come down here, getting a little better. We're down to 0.67 arc seconds, bumped up there a little bit, but it will calm down here in a second. And now we're back to imaging, finally. Guiding is at 0.73, but it will calm down and be much better than that as it goes on through the night. So here comes my first HA image of the night. We've been seeing luminance, but here's HA. My guiding, as you'll notice there, is down to 0.58, which is awesome. And here comes the HA image. There we go, nice HA image. Got some amp glow up in the corner. That's typical of the 294mm, but not an issue. Darks will take that right out for me, so won't have a problem there. Now, if the unnoticed meridian flip wasn't a problem, I started getting errors on my guider after a few minutes. That's my outdoor camera, my all-sky camera. That red dot is where I'm located. It's supposed to be clear tonight. Nice little skiff of clouds coming through. So I paused everything for a couple of hours till they passed on and was able to start up a little later on. Weatherman, gotta love it. But anyway, wasn't horrible. So got the 2 targets done. This was the end of several nights, and here are the final images. IC5146, the Cocoon Nebula, and then I also have the Bode's Galaxy M81 and M82, the Cigar Galaxy. Thank you very much. As always, clear skies. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel the need. Bye for now.